I'm Leah Lawrence.
And I'm her husband, Mitch Lawrence.
And you are listening to the Southern Spirits Podcast, where I regale my husband with Southern stories of the macabre, creepy, and strange.
And I drink.
So what are we drinking tonight, Mitchell?
Our beer for the evening is Walk the Lime American Wheat Ale. Brewed and bottled by Tennessee Brew Works in Nashville, Tennessee. 5.4% alcohol by volume. Let's read the bottle. 100% locally owned and operated. Tennessee Brew Works, Nashville, Tennessee. Finely tuned. They didn't care to put anything on the bottle except for that. So,
rock on.
My thoughts. This is a finely crafted, really subtle beer. The lime flavor in it is not overpowering. It's actually really complimentary to the overall experience of the beer. I like it a lot. Leah didn't really care for it.
Not my thing.
It's crisp. I mean, it's a wheat ale. It's, like a Blue Moon or something, but with a different flavor. It's lime instead of orange, pretty much. And I like it quite a bit. This would be great to have, 14 or 15 of them sitting on the beach during the day. It'd be
Didn't
fucking
that come
awesome.
in like a 4-pack or something?
That's a 6-pack.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying, if I had 14 or 15 of them and we were at the beach, I'd probably finish them in about 2 hours. They're pretty good. This is a really good beer. I like it a lot.
That sounds like an excessive amount of beer to me, but I'm a lightweight.
Sometimes I like to binge.
There you go.
But I never purge because I need to keep it. Anyway,
Ew.
It's really good. I like the beer a lot.
It's really gross.
Gets a 7.5 out of 10. Our liquor for the evening, and please reserve judgment. This is Bird Dog Jalapeno Honey Flavored Whiskey, bottled for Western Spirits by 3 Spirits Bottling Company in Bowling Green, Kentucky. 40% alcohol by volume. Let's read the online description, because they also have nothing on the bottle. Bird Dog Jalapeno Honey Flavored Whiskey is uncommonly and uniquely delicious. The crisp jalapeno flavor combines perfectly with the smooth honey taste. The distinctive taste was nationally recognized during the 2016 San Francisco World Spirits Competition with a gold medal. I say gold medal like that. It's in all caps.
Oh, okay.
It's
we
gold
need you
medal.
to know about our gold medal.
All right, here is what I think about this. This is why I told you to reserve judgment. I am completely surprised at how good this whiskey is. This is so freaking good. It does not have a lot of spiciness from that jalapeno on it. You do have it, it's there, but it really just adds some flavor, some spicy flavor. It's almost exclusively honey, and I mean, it's artificial honey flavoring. You can definitely tell that it's artificial, but it's really freaking good. This whiskey on ice by itself gets a 9 out of 10. More of that hot from the jalapeno comes through, but that could just be the whiskey by itself. I don't know. It's got a little bit of a burn that feels spicy and not whiskey related to me. It gets a 10 out of 10 in a cocktail, and we went online to find out the cocktail, basically the pairings for this on Bird Dog's website, and there's a cocktail called Party Dog. It's essentially just this whiskey, ginger ale, and lemon juice. There are some measurements on there, but not really. It's like 2 ounces of whiskey, a 1/4 ounce of lemon juice, and then it literally just says ginger ale, I guess just to taste. But it's real fucking good, because I made one, and I absolutely love it.
It is tasty.
Mm-hmm. It gets.
Now, I'm pretty sure our friends gave that to us, that bottle of whiskey, as
Amber and
a
Aaliyah
joke.
did. Yeah.
Aaliyah told me, she bought it just because she thought it was funny and wanted to see what we would do when we were shooting it.
Aaliyah, fuck you. This is delicious. It's so good.
No,
and
y'all,
you don't get any
really
of it because it'll be gone. Mm-hmm. It's really, really good. 9.5 out of 10. Overall, that's it for the alcohols tonight. Well, I take that back. Leah's also drinking Citracabra because they started canning it
y'all,
recently, and Leah bought some cans of it. Go look at the pictures.
We did it, y'all. They're canning it for me.
They're really cute pictures.
It was
Check
just
them
for
out.
me too, I promise.
Yes, they did. Leah campaigned, and now she has Citracabra.
We've started a movement. Citracabra is available at the Liquor Express
in Huntsville.
In Huntsville, and It's a banner day for the Lawrence household because...
If anybody doesn't know, that's from Singing River Brewery in Florence. We're not going to do a review because we've done it before.
I was say I've already reviewed it previously.
Now
from
it's
their
being
tap
canned.
room.
So.
But this is my all-time favorite beer, and now the label that they've got to go with it is just...
It's really cool.
All kinds of fabulous.
I love it.
Yeah, highly recommend. If they're releasing it in your area, go drink it. It's wonderful.
It's a bitter and real sour beer together. It's like a sour IPA almost, and it's really good. I just tried it again to try it. I didn't care for it too much in the tap room. I liked it, but it wasn't for me. In that can, that's fucking good. It's really good.
It was good the whole time. But anyway.
Yeah, it was, but I like it
perfect score,
now.
10 out of 10. Always Singing River. Always.
Always. How long have you loved Citricabra, Leah?
Well...
Always.
When did we
was
go
the
to
answer?
Florence?
No, it's Snape. It's the answer is always.
Well, that would be how long have I?
Yeah.
How long will I continue? But when did I start? When we went to Florence.
Always. Well, we fucked that up.
Uh-huh.
So never mind.
Sorry.
All right, what's next?
Well, how about a funny place named Mitchell?
I would love to have a funny place name.
All right.
Leo.
Today, we're going to the great state of Georgia.
Georgia?
Georgia.
All right.
We're going to Climax, Georgia.
No, we are not. You take that back.
No, we're going to Climax, Georgia.
No, we are not.
Do you want to know how it got named?
Not really. I really don't. Just story one. Let's move on.
No, it was founded in 1880, and the only reason it's called Climax is it sits at the highest point of the railroad between Savannah, Georgia, and the Chattahoochee River. So it is literally at the climax of the rail. So
Gross.
yeah,
Gotta fix my squeaky chair again.
less exciting than you had thought, I'm sure. But
Yeah, I was waiting.
Climax, Georgia.
So that's it for Climax,
That's
though?
it.
Okay.
I just thought it was funny.
Thank you, Climax, Georgia,
You're welcome.
for showing... What?
You're welcome.
Please don't.
I'm Georgia. And
Please don't. We're not improving a scene where you're Climax, Georgia. We're
you're
not
supposed
doing
to
it.
yes and me, Mitchell.
We are not doing that. I come from a little town in Georgia called Climax.
Oh.
We aren't doing it, and it's like the 30s. So, well, let's go further back. Let's go Gone with the Wind Times. You got a big Southern Belle dress on. Welcome to Climax. Okay, we won't do that.
How about we just go directly into our first story and stop being creepers?
Story one.
All right, are you ready?
Hit me.
Oh, hold on.
Ugh.
Boo.
All right, story two. Hit me.
No, we're still at story one.
Okay.
Okay. Tonight I'm gonna be telling a story that takes place and is involved in 3 different states. We're talking about North Carolina, Texas, and Virginia.
I don't know if we can do that.
Well, we're gonna, so suck it.
All right.
We're talking about the televangelist mail bomber.
Oh, how exciting. That excites me.
Alrighty, it's an unsolved mystery. The theme of our night is mysteries that have not been solved, so let's talk about it.
All right. Unsolved mysteries?
Uh-huh.
Unsolved mysteries.
So, the first bombing, now, okay, obviously we're talking about a bomber here, a mail bomber, not physically mail, but like through the Postal Service mail.
Right, right.
All right, so the first bombing occurred on January the 30th of 1990, so just a few months after I was born.
Oh,
Hey, y'all.
yay!
Sorry. The mail, the package. Y'all, that beer has me burpy.
Well, that's what you get.
But the package was sent to the Lakewood Church in Houston, Texas. Now, that might sound familiar to you because the church was run at the time by Pastor John Osteen, but he is the father of Joel Osteen that preacher with the real plasticky looking hair on TV.
He also looks like he has a real plastic face.
Well, he probably does, but he can afford it. It's fine. So yeah, this at the time, it's being run by his father, John Osteen.
John.
And his family. So the morning that the package was delivered, John's daughter Lisa was the one that was picking up the mail, and she received the package along with all the rest of the mail. And when she looked at the package, she's like, "Okay, package, awesome." She cut the tape on the box and it exploded, and she received third-degree burns and cuts and shrapnel to her right leg and abdomen.
I didn't know that happened.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was fucked up. But then on April the 27th of 1990, so just a couple months after, another package was mailed to Pat Robertson's headquarters in Virginia Beach, Virginia. So Pat Robertson is also, you know, a televangelist.
Yeah,
and
700 Club guy, right?
700, yes.
Yeah.
That guy. He's kind of awful, but whatever.
I agree.
Yeah. He has some, let's call them controversial viewpoints. And
Okay.
because he is that way, I guess. I'm trying to be nice, y'all. He has been the target of a lot of hate mail and death threats and all sorts of stuff like that. So he has a security system in place to where they x-ray all of his mail just to make sure that there's no shit in it. Well, so one of his security guards, Scott Sheepers is how I'm going to say that last name. It's spelled Scheepers. I'm going with Sheepers.
Yeah, I'll agree.
Sheepers, maybe? I don't know.
No, it sounds sheeperish.
We're going to call him Scott.
Okay. All right.
It's because that's his name.
It's spelled Scheepers. I'm going to call him Scott. We're going to pronounce it Scott.
That's his first name.
His name is Scott.
Now, like I said, Robertson receives a shit ton of mail all day, every day, just because old people like to give him money for whatever fucking reason. So this Scott dude has the joyful job of making sure all of that mail is sent through the x-ray machine. So on that day, Scott was in the mailroom after they received this package, and it was a little suspicious, but whatever. So he looked at the package through the monitor of their x-ray machine, like the ones that you'd see at like a courthouse or an airport, you know, the ones that that scan it and real time see the monitor.
Right.
But nothing was noticeably suspicious with the package's contents. Nothing that the x-ray was picking up said, you know, danger, Will Robinson, or anything. It was just...
I hope not.
It was just, you know, a weird-looking package. So he was like, okay, fine. But he still was like, this is a little bit weird. So he took it out and manually inspected the package, and he found that there were little strips of newspaper sticking out of the top of the box, and so he was still kind of suspicious about it. So he placed the box on the floor and took a few steps away from it and sort of poked at the box as they opened it.
Like with a stick?
I'm not sure. And at that point, obviously, the box exploded.
Obviously? Why would you say obviously?
Because it's the televangelist mail bomber.
Oh.
It's gonna be a bomb.
Well...
If you'd paid attention to the title.
Well, yeah. I don't know.
Alright, so it exploded and it filled his leg full of shrapnel. And so he was rushed to the hospital immediately to be treated for burns and to have surgery to remove all that shrapnel from his leg. And if he had opened that thing at a different angle, the shrapnel could have sent it in any of his internal organs, and it could have been a lot worse. So it's a good thing that he was a little bit cautious about that package. But I have a shot in the dark for you.
Yay! Shot in the dark.
In the dark.
Woo.
So the pipe bombs, which is what they were mailed in cardboard boxes that originally held products from a popular direct marketing sales company.
Oh, God.
What company was it? Was it A, Home Interiors? Was it B, Pampered Chef? Or was it C, Amway?
Home interiors. Pwned.
How did you get that one?
Pwned. I literally had 3 options and pulled one.
Well, all
I
right.
guessed.
I need a shot, my love.
Okay. Let's get you a shot. 1 second. You want me to pour it?
Yes, please. Oh, honey, this is going to be awful.
Probably, but you got Citricaba to chase it with. And that's going to be fucking delicious.
I don't know.
Oh, excuse me. Flappy. Was it terrible? Was it the worst?
Oh, y'all.
This is the best thing I've ever witnessed.
Oh, butter my ass and call me a biscuit. I can't. Oh.
Oh, that was fantastic. Oh,
I'm
man.
not kidding. That's miserable.
I can't wait to get the second one wrong. It looks absolutely delicious.
No.
It wasn't?
I've seen things.
It's really good every other way. It's good on ice and good in a cocktail.
That is perhaps the most traumatizing shot I've ever taken in my life. You don't understand. I've been places. I've seen things. I don't know that I can keep going. Oh. I don't know if I just took it down wrong or what, but that was terrible. So yeah, the answer was home interiors. In case anybody cared.
I did. I got it right.
All right, so the boxes that were used to mail those bombs were used by the home sales distributors for home interiors, and they were the candle boxes. So one of the weird details that they wrote up said that the logo of the company had been scratched out on the top of the box, and the word burgundy was written on the top of the box. So someone likes candles and likes to bomb televangelists.
I don't understand. Why burgundy?
Because there were burgundy candles inside.
Oh.
Because home interiors, I'm pretty sure they went out of business in 2008. But at the time, okay, my mom was one of those people that you could convince to buy anything.
She was an Avon person, wasn't she?
No, I mean, I remember buying some of the lotion from Avon, but nothing crazy. But everything else, yeah, you could guilt her into buying just about anything. And anyway, I went to a lot of home interior parties as a kid, and they sold those stupid candles in every shade and color to match anybody's home interior scheme.
Hey.
Yeah, but burgundy was one of the colors, and they smelled like apple, and they were lovely.
Well, that's excellent.
Yes.
I'm very happy for those candles.
Indeed. But anyway, so both bombs were mailed from small towns near Fayetteville, North Carolina. So the bomber was ostensibly from or living around the North Carolina, Fayetteville area.
That's what you'd think.
So, the criminal profilers at the time suggested that the bomber was under some kind of stress or was upset, which obviously if he's sending a fucking bomb,
I think he's a very happy,
he's really chilled,
are a very happy
just
individual.
Super well adjusted. He's just you know what I'm gonna do? Pipe bombs.
Most likely a college graduate with a very high paying job.
And they believed that the friends and relatives of the bomber would have noticed a dramatic change in his behavior at the time.
Or her.
Come
on now.
I mean, generally bombers are pretty much exclusively
Let's not be
men.
sexist.
You're right. It's a thing, but just
excuse me.
White guys are generally your bombers. But
accurate.
Sorry.
Let's not be racist either.
You're right. I mean, there have been a few exceptions to that rule, but a lot of the times, your male bombers are going to be white guys.
Are going to be white males.
Yeah.
Right? Male.
So, obviously, they went back on, security footage at the post offices where those bombs were mailed. And they've got the guy on camera, and they interviewed the workers at the post offices, and they said that the man who mailed the packages was described as being between 5'10" and 6 feet tall. He was about 160 pounds. He had brown hair. And in 1991, he was believed to have been between 28 and 35 years old. So that could have been literally anybody.
So it actually was a man, though.
Generic white man.
It actually was a man. Okay.
Just a generic white man. So, like I said, this case is still completely unsolved. But a lot of people actually believe that it was Eric Rudolph, so the guy who did the bombings at the Olympic Park in Atlanta.
Oh, the same guy? I think it was the same guy?
They think it was him because he was living in North Carolina at the same time that the bombs were sent. He used a very similar bomb in the 1996 Olympic Park attacks. That they were very close in design to the ones that were sent to the televangelists. He also bombed like an abortion clinic in Birmingham. Wasn't that him?
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure he did that too.
But I do know the one in Atlanta was a pipe bomb as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that he did the one in Birmingham as well. So like I said, he was there at the right time. He physically fits the descriptions, and he looks a lot like the composite sketches that they have of him. And he didn't like Christians or materialism, which is sort of what those like...
Or abortion? On top of that?
Yeah.
Okay. This guy's got some... He's
issues.
Bouncing around a little bit, isn't he?
Yeah. But like I said, he's never been officially connected to the bombings, but that's a pretty popular theory online that he's the one who committed those bombings.
I don't know anything about him. Was he captured?
He
or was he killed?
No, he was captured in so he got away, but was captured in 2003, I believe. So he was out for a while, but they.
Well, I was going to ask if they've ever questioned him.
Hold on,
these.
I'm gonna Google him right quick.
Let's Google. They start Googling music. We can't have dead time.
You can just edit the dead time out, my love.
Googling Leah.
He's a domestic terrorist.
I haven't wrapped up the song.
Mitchell.
All right, go ahead.
Eric Rudolph is also known as the Olympic Park bomber. He's an American domestic terrorist convicted for a series of anti-abortion and anti-gay motivated bombings across the United States.
And anti-Olympics, or?
I think the Olympics were just a reason to... There were a lot of people around.
Yeah, so he was bound to get some gays and abortionists around there somewhere, right?
Eventually, yeah.
What a dick.
But
Took a real bold stance there, calling that guy a dick.
Seriously.
I'm a hero.
He has 4 consecutive life sentences, and he remains incarcerated at the Supermax prison in Florence, Colorado.
Yeah, federal prison. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I didn't know if they ever questioned him about these at all.
Yep.
About the televangelist things. Find out if he did them.
One would assume, but I don't believe that it's like... he looks like the composite sketches. He was in the right place at the right time, and he liked to send pipe bombs to people. So,
who doesn't?
I mean, like I said, it's as good a guess as anything, but who knows?
I had friends in high school that learned how to build pipe bombs. They weren't sending them to people, but I knew people who had farmland, and they were like, "Let's go build a pipe bomb," and I was like, "I'm not coming. Y'all have fun."
What kind of friends do you have, Mitchell?
Weird ones. And they knew how to do it. I don't know that they ever actually did it.
The craziest shit that we ever did was get some dry ice from Kroger and put it in a water bottle and let someone run over it with their car, and it made a loud pop noise, but it wasn't even going to blow up anything.
You lived such a sheltered life.
Oh, y'all. Mr. Pipe Bomb over there.
I never fucked with the pipe bombs. Mm-hmm. I was told about the pipe bombs. Thank you.
Now you know why we live where we live and not where Mitchell's friends live. Because they have pipe bombs.
Yeah. Montgomery is pipe bomb capital USA.
It's not, though, for real. Sorry, y'all. Anyway, so are you ready for the next story?
Absolutely, as long as story 1 is finished.
It is finished.
Then yes, let's move on.
Still unsolved, but definitely finished.
Story 2.
All right. Well, this is actually a listener suggestion from Instagram.
Welcome. Which Instagram listener?
Her name
user?
is Denise Gonzalez.
Hey, Denise.
Hey, Denise.
We had it prepared this week.
She suggested that we do the Axeman of New Orleans.
Axeman?
Axeman.
Now, let's clarify. Did he just smell funky? Did he just have a whole bunch of spray on him?
He was a middle school kid that was just realizing that he has to shower in gym, so he's gonna spray the whole damn bottle on himself.
His parents went broke buying him Axe. $4 a bottle in the mid-2000s. That's expensive.
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah. It was not that. Sorry, y'all. Okay.
I made myself happy. I don't know about y'all.
Y'all need to buckle up because this is a long story.
Yay.
And that being said, it is a very popular story. It's a heavy hitter. If I don't mention your favorite part of this story, y'all, I'm sorry, but it's like so long and so intense that if I skip over something, I'm sorry, but it's going to happen. So this is the Axeman of New Orleans.
Well, let's go.
All right. So in May of 1918, there were a series of gruesome crimes that began a reign of terror that would grip the city of New Orleans for about a year and a half. And to this day, in sticking with our unsolved mysteries, it's the suspect remains unidentified and the case is unsolved.
When did this happen? What'd you say?
In 1918.
Okay.
Okay.
Long time ago.
Yes.
I think I know some about this because it has to do with the music and like closing the doors and everything.
If you have ever listened to a podcast that
you've heard
has
this at some
anything, you've
point.
definitely had this. It's a great story. So anyway, let's start.
Okay.
So on May the 23rd, in 1918, an Italian grocer, and his name was Joseph Maggio, and his wife were brutally butchered while sleeping in their apartment above the Maggio's grocery store. So they were Italian grocers, and this will become a theme as we continue.
Which part?
The Italian grocer part.
Okay.
And the being axe murdered part.
Whoa. You didn't tell me about that. No, I got it. I thought we were still talking about body spray.
No.
Obviously, we're not.
Sorry. But upon investigation, the police discovered that... So... okay, the door... that shot hit me real hard, y'all. I'm sorry. But the rear door of their apartment had a panel chiseled out of it. So, like, you know those doors that have, like, the cross bars and then the little panels of wood and all of that stuff?
Sure.
Like fancy doors.
Yes.
Okay, well, it was a fancy door, and there was a little, like, square chiseled out of it, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And it provided an entryway for the killer.
Uh-oh.
Sorry.
Thank you for that.
I apologize. The murder weapon was an axe, obviously.
No.
Axe murders. And they found the axe still in the apartment and coated with the Maggio's blood. Nothing in the house had been stolen at all. There was jewelry and money that were in plain sight. Plenty of valuables that, had it been a robbery, could have totally been taken away, but they didn't because apparently they just wanted to axe these folks to death.
Well, that's terrible.
Yeah, it is terrible.
No.
So the detectives went to work. They were looking around and they found some folks and they took them in and they arrested them and they questioned them, but nothing went together. There was no evidence other than, like, just a bloody axe and dead people, I guess.
Jesus.
So there was no nothing to hold anybody on, so they had to release all of their suspects. And the only clue to the identity of the axe person, the only clue was discovered was a message that had been written in chalk a few blocks away from the victim's home. And it read, "Mrs. Joseph Maggio will sit up tonight. Just right, Mrs. Tony." I don't know what that means. I just don't.
That's so upsetting.
Mm-hmm. So almost exactly a month after the Maggio murder came a second crime. So this time it was Louis, I'm not sure. Let's go with Louis.
In New Orleans, it's probably Louis. But
they're Italian.
Okay. I don't know how to say Louis in Italian.
So...
I think it's Luigi.
No. Anyway,
Italian.
I'm going with Louis. Louis Bessemer and it turns out to be Mistress Harriet Lowe, were attacked in the early morning hours of June the 27th of 1918. So he had a grocery store as well, and it had a little apartment to live in out the back, like most of the grocery stores that we will talk about. And it was similarly had a little panel of their door chiseled out the back. And the attacker came in, and Bessemer was struck in the head with an axe right above his right temple, and he got a skull fracture from it. He was hacked over the left ear, and he was bleeding out, and he was found unconscious when the police arrived at the scene. And they were discovered, after about 7 o'clock in the morning by a driver for the bakery that had come around to the grocery store to make a delivery of bread. Mm-hmm. So this guy named, I believe it's John Zonka, he found them, called the police. They were laying in a puddle of their own blood, both bleeding from the head, and they found the axe. And the axe had belonged to Bessemer. So this guy wasn't bringing in his own weapons. He was finding weapons available at the house.
So these store owners / where they lived just had axes lying around?
Well, you've got to remember that in the 1917s, 18s, a lot of the heat for that time of year was provided by wood-burning stoves, and that's how you cook your food. So, you're going to have an axe or hatchet around to split wood. It's just everyday life.
I guess I just figured they were already purchasing that somewhere. And weren't, getting it themselves.
No, axes were definitely more of a thing back then. So
I don't know. I just felt like after the 1900s it was probably turning over in big cities, especially like New Orleans.
No, every family would have had an axe, like I said, for wood splitting purposes.
All except being wrong.
Good for you. That's
as
very
normal.
Strong of you.
Yeah. I'm a hero once again.
Indeed. So like I said, they found the axe. It belonged to the victim, and it was found in the bathroom of their apartment. And Bessemer said that he was dead asleep, and the last thing he remembered was like being woken up and bashed in the head. Like that's all he got out of that. And
consider yourself lucky, I'd say. Right?
I guess. So almost immediately the police arrested a potential suspect, and his name was Louis Obicon, and he was a 41-year-old African-American man who had just started working for Bessemer's store a week before the attacks took place. Mm-hmm. There was absolutely no evidence, no reason that they would have...
Well, at that time...
That's what I'm saying.
You're the only non-white person here, so...
That was the only reason that they had to arrest him, was that he was black. That's it. And so there was no evidence, nothing. But they were like, oh, he didn't have a good alibi for his whereabouts of that morning. And honestly, it was just like he was asleep, like normal people. Mm-hmm. Anyway, they quickly realized that this was not their guy, so they let him go. And so
You okay over there?
That shot, y'all. But anyway, they released Obicon because, like I said, there was no evidence. He was obviously not involved.
Well, good.
So then the police turned their attention to the victim because they found a series of letters written in German, Russian, and Yiddish in a trunk in his home. And the police suspected that he was a German spy and that the government officials decided to start a full investigation of him, seeing if he was a spy, if there was any kind of espionage going on or whatever. So while this is going on, oh God, this is my favorite part of the case. It's fucking batshit.
Okay.
Now, Harriet Lowe, which a lot of places will call his common law wife, turns out was not his wife at all.
He had an actual
wife. So Harriet Lowe was with him in bed while Lewis was attacked, and like I said, she was hacked above her left ear and found unconscious. She was bleeding out. Now, she was rushed to Charity Hospital. And she also became the center of a media just shitstorm because first she was like, oh yeah, it was, I saw everything. It was a mulatto man.
Oh,
her words, not mine.
Racist.
That attacked me. And then she was like, no, it wasn't. It was definitely Louis Bessemer. This bro attacked me. Her boo thing? I don't know what you call him. I'm drunk. Leave me alone. Her
boo thing.
Mister? I don't know. The guy she's fucking at the time.
Let's just go with boo thing.
Boo thing. So she's like, no, it was totally him. By the way, did y'all know that he speaks German? And so she's the one that got him in on all of that shit. And so, so Bessemer has recovered and all that stuff. So he goes to the hospital to check on her. And Bessemer asked to be directed to the room of Mrs. Harriet Lowe, and he was denied access because no woman by that name was listed as a patient in that hospital.
Excuse me.
Because Bessemer's legal wife had arrived in from Cincinnati a few days after discovering that her husband had been beaten in the head by an axe. And that further just inflamed this media hoopla scandal.
This is fun.
I know.
This is so fun.
I know.
Minus the axe thing. You know, the rest of it is just, this is a Maury episode.
Yeah, and then so Harriet, goes back and forth of, oh yeah, he's a spy, or no, he didn't do it, or yes, he's a spy. And then she talks shit about the New Orleans chief of police, every so often in the newspaper, just fanning the flames of this shit. And she refused to comply with being questioned by the police and all this stuff. And then, it was revealed that she was totes not married to the guy that she was living with.
Totes.
And so after that happened, she was like, I'm not going to help the police anymore because it was totally the chief that told everybody that I wasn't married. Which, all right.
It's his fault.
But anyway, it was her, like I said before, that suggested that Bessemer was a German spy. And so he had to deal with that shit. So basically, he was arrested for being a German spy, and he spent 9 months in prison before being acquitted on May the 1st of 1919 after a 10-minute jury deliberation. They were like, y'all,
he didn't do it.
Your problem?
He literally had an axe wound in his head.
He had nothing to fucking do with this. And it said when I was reading it that, after he was acquitted of the charges, 2 police officers were immediately demoted for shitty police work. That's
good.
I know, right? But anyway, Lowe ended up. So Harriet, the mistress,
Harriet Lowe.
Yeah, Harriet Lowe. She died on August the 5th of 1918. After the doctors performed a surgery to try to unfuck up her paralyzed face.
Oh God!
It didn't work.
Of course it didn't. It's 1918.
And so she died. So that was a victim.
My condolences to her family.
All right. So then later on that year in August, there was a woman named Mrs. Edward Schneider, and she awakened in the middle of the night to see a tall form standing over her bed, and she screamed bloody murder just as the axe started to go down. And a few minutes later, her neighbors came to check on her because they heard the scream. They found her unconscious with her head gashed open, and it was bloody, and several of her teeth were knocked out, but she recovered from her injuries and she was okay.
Except for the teeth.
Except for the teeth. I'm sure she had pretty teeth. Sorry.
There's no way. Not in 1918's New Orleans.
No.
No. Nobody in New Orleans now has pretty teeth.
You're right. So a few...
That was mean.
That was mean.
We gotta take that back. I'm sorry, New Orleans.
So a few nights after that happened, another Italian grocer named Joseph Romano was also attacked. And the attack was just like the rest of them, but he unfortunately did not survive his wounds. He died a few hours after they discovered him, and he was never able to come to consciousness to provide any kind of clues about who the Axeman was. So by this time, everybody in the city was fucking freaking the fuck out. It was a problem. Families started like taking shifts, sleeping. Like, so some of them would be up watching and making sure no one came in the chiseled out panel. And then some people would sleep and they'd swap, and there were tons of people with loaded shotguns hanging around just waiting for an Axeman to break in. And there were a bunch of Axeman sightings, which who knows, could have just been regular people.
Yeah, it could have just been people chopping firewood because apparently they fucking needed it.
It was 100% a thing. So then on like on August the 11th, the killer was seen in the neighborhood of Tulane and Broad, which I have no idea where that is. And eyewitnesses said that the Axeman was masquerading as a woman, which maybe it was just a real masculine-looking woman.
Maybe it's just an axe woman, god damn it.
Well, we'll get to that.
Don't be sexist.
So there were manhunts organized across the city, and no one ever turned up with anything. On August the 21st, a man was seen leaping the back fence of a dwelling. A house.
Was it a teepee?
If it had a fence, probably not, Mitchell.
Oh, man.
But
a dwelling. That makes me happy.
So they looked for this person, and nothing. Couldn't find anybody. So, like I said, there were a lot of sightings, but nobody ever, caught anybody. But there was Axeman activity during this time. And he left tangible evidence behind. Just sort of his calling card, I guess. So on August the 11th, a man named Al Durand discovered an axe and a chisel lying outside of his rear door in the early morning hours. So his back door looked like someone had started to try to chisel out a panel, but he had a really thick door, and it was probably too tough for the killer to get through. So he was saved by a thick door.
Yay!
Yay for Al. So later that same August, the rear door of a man named Paul Lobella's grocery store had also been attempted to cut through it, but he had a case of tomatoes that had been resting up against that part of the door, and they couldn't get through it, and they couldn't push out the panel. So saved by tomatoes.
Saved by tomatoes.
Yes, tomatoes queen.
How thick were those tomatoes, though?
So thick. It was probably the crate that they were in, but I'm gonna say saved by tomatoes.
Hey, I want to know about the thickness of those tomatoes.
Real thick tomatoes. So in the early morning hours of March the 10th of 1919, unfortunately, the Axeman struck again, and there were no tomatoes to save the day.
No, there's always gotta be tomatoes.
There might have been tomatoes, but they didn't help this time.
Fucking those were not the proper thickness of tomatoes.
No.
They were cherry tomatoes.
Most likely. Or Romas. It wasn't Italian.
No, Romas
grocer.
are pretty thick when you let them get out. I mean, we had Roma tomato plants last year. We got like 60 tomatoes off of those things.
Those were big tomatoes.
Uh-huh. Thank you.
Anyway. But it was a real bad one. So Mrs. Charles Cortimiglia, who was the wife of a grocer in town names. I'm gonna say Gretna, Gretna, and they say it's just across the river from New Orleans, but I personally don't know where.
Sounds like Gretna to me.
Sounds like Gretna to me as well. So she woke up to find her husband in a fight, struggling in the bedroom with a large man in dark clothing who was armed with an axe. So
it's got to be the axe guy.
You'd think, yeah.
Oh.
So her husband fell into a bloody heap on the floor, and Mrs. Cortimiglia was holding on to her 2-year-old daughter and just begging the attacker, just spare the kid at least. Fucking kill me. Don't hurt the child. But unfortunately, the axe came down anyway, and it killed the little girl. And it fractured the mother's skull. So the police came in again. They had no fucking clue what was going on. And they started to think that maybe the Axeman wasn't a man at all. So some people believed that the Axeman was actually an axe woman, or possibly an axe midget, which is their word and not mine. It could have been an axe small person.
So far, we've heard nothing that would support that.
Well, let me keep going.
Okay.
Their reasoning being that he's only cutting out these tiny panels. Like when I'm saying a door panel, it's
got to be able to fit
bitty,
through
it's
there.
got someone has to be able to fit through the panel. So they're like, okay, fine. Maybe it was a dainty lady or a small person just squeezing through those holes. So everybody's like side-eyeing all the little people in town and all the ladies. It's not cool. But others decided, oh no, it's not a person at all. It's totally like a demon or something. It's like some kind of supernatural creature that's out to kill everybody.
Whenever you hear a story, there's always going to be somebody that believes in magic. It's just how it's going to happen.
Because they kept saying, the killer keeps being described as a very large man. But how the fuck did a very large man get through those little holes? So obviously it has to be a demon of some sort.
Yeah, definitely.
Whatevs.
It takes the form of a very large man.
Now, do you want to hear my personal opinion on what happened with this?
Nah. Let's go to the outro.
Well, we're not done. We're not even close.
Yeah, give me your opinion.
Okay. You've seen Indiana Jones. All of them.
Yeah. A few times. Even Crystal Skull, I'm fine with it.
So in Raiders, right? They have that monkey.
Yeah.
I think it was a monkey.
It was. It was a small monkey. I know what you're talking about.
I'm saying I think the Axeman had a shoulder monkey that went through and unlocked shit.
Okay, you're just being ridiculous.
Okay.
You need to calm down.
Well, it was either that or a fucking demon. I'm thinking the monkey is a little more plausible, sir.
Well, then why did nobody ever report seeing a monkey?
It was a stealth monkey.
Yeah, but what happened after it unlocked the door? He gave it a treat and it ran off?
Hell yeah, he did.
They had a meeting spot and he ran to the safe house?
Obviously.
Look, I can't support this.
Okay, well,
whatsoever.
maybe he had like a child in tow that was working with him.
Okay,
like,
child is more plausible.
paying off the child, go through the thing, unlock the thing, and go home. Dude.
That's fine. At this time in America, there were so many like homeless, indigent children. I completely understand there being at least a child. He might have gotten a different one every night to crawl in through a window. That one I can get behind. A monkey? No. I cannot get behind the monkey thing.
But I just really feel like this story would be better if there was a monkey.
I think he probably boosted a child through. The child unlocked the door.
There's no boosting through. It's on the ground. It's a door.
Okay. Well, the child went in and did it and unlocked the door, and he gave him a cookie, and they ran off.
But after, like, if you're using a different child every time, eventually the child's going to be like, oh, yeah, that was me.
No, they wouldn't have done that.
All right.
No.
They
were indigent. They didn't trust anybody.
I'm still voting on the monkey here, but...
You can vote on the monkey.
That is just my personal theory. Nobody else actually believes it was a monkey but me. But
I will not support your monkey theory.
Let's start, like, a subreddit of the Axeman of New Orleans had a monkey.
Or it was the monkey.
Yes.
Or it was a monkey.
Aided by the monkey.
No. Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
I like it. All right, but anyway.
No, we're not doing it.
Sorry, let's continue. So, right after the Cortimiglia murders, New Orleans was obviously fucking terrorized again.
Mm-hmm.
They were really freaked out. They were upset. They believed that all of these crimes were committed by the same person. And they were terrified. So on Friday, March the 14th of 1919, the editor of the New Orleans Times-Picayune paper received a letter from a man who claimed to be the Axeman. Now we're at the shot in the dark.
Go ahead.
So the letter detailed a way that New Orleanians could avoid having their homes being attacked.
I'm going to stop you because I know the answer to this. I literally know the answer to this.
Well, can I get my question out so the people at home can play along?
Sure, but...
Well, I'm going to take a second shot. It's going to be fine.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
The letter detailed a way that New Orleanians could avoid having their homes attacked by the Axeman. Mm-hmm. What precaution did the Axeman suggest the residents take? Was it A, to smear the blood of a goat above the doorframe?
That would be Moses.
Thank you, Mitch. B, to have jazz playing in the home all night?
Uh-huh.
Or C, to place a new bottle of rum on the back steps of the home?
It's B. It's the jazz music.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. So I knew that.
Pour me a shot.
I'm not going to make you do it.
I'm doing it.
Because you almost died last time.
Dude.
No, I want to take it. I seriously want to take the shot.
Well, we'll have to do it together because I'm not going to I'm not going to puss out on this.
Together. What? Give me your shot glass.
Together.
Tomorrow.
That is not at all what I was singing.
It's close.
Singing Cruising Together because we're shooting together.
Oh. I love you when we're cruising together. No, it's I love it, not I love you. But you know.
Yeah, but I love you when we're shooting together.
Correct.
I love it.
What's going to happen here is I'm going to let you do this, and then we'll video me for shits and giggles.
Shiggles?
Yeah, mostly for shiggles.
Oh, shiggles are gross. Hold on.
When was the last time you had shiggles?
Do you want the actual
Don't make statements. Don't make statements about shiggles. If you're not going to back up your shiggles. Oh, you take your shot and then you can video me. You do it for the
integrity of the show?
Yeah. Is it worth it? Go ahead. How terrible was it? Was it the worst? You have got to stop doing what you're doing. Your entire body is gyrating. Cut it out.
It helps me through the pain. I'm dancing it out.
This is the worst.
Oh, Mitch.
What?
Baby, spare yourself.
No, I'm doing it.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna get my camera up.
Yeah. You ready?
Let me zoom in on your face. Okay, go.
Cheers. I don't get it.
Seriously?
That's not the worst thing in the world.
It's the literal worst thing in the world.
No, it's not. It's not good to shoot it, but that's not the worst thing in the world.
It's so bad, Mitch.
No, I disagree.
You're lying to me.
No, I'm not. I just really like this whiskey a lot.
God.
I mean, the shot's not good. Like most liquors that we've had so far, shooting
don't shoot it
is a bad idea, I think. It's not bad, though.
Oh,
I disagree with you.
Well, you're wrong. And my tummy is not happy.
That's going to be fun. All right, well, continue.
All right. So I'm going to read to you the letter. It's a couple paragraphs, so please don't snore or pretend to snore or fall asleep, okay?
I promise.
Thank you. All right. So the letter appeared in the Times New Orleans Picayune as follows. It says, Hell, March 13th, 19, excuse me.
Ooh.
It says, Esteemed mortal, they have never caught me, and they never will. They have never seen me, for I am invisible, even as the ether that surrounds your earth. I am not a human being, but a spirit and a demon from the hottest hell. I am what you Orleanians and your foolish police call the Axeman. When I see fit, I shall come and claim other victims. I alone know whom they shall be. I shall leave no clue except my bloody axe besmeared with the blood and brains of he whom I have sent below to keep me company. If you wish, you may tell the police to be careful not to rile me. Of course, I am a reasonable spirit. I take no offense at the way they have conducted their investigations in the past. In fact, they have been so utterly stupid as to not only amuse me, but His Satanic Majesty, Francis, Joseph, etc. Okay, sidebar. I did not know that Satan's name was Francis.
Yes, it's Francis Beelzebub.
Anyway, maybe I'm confused, but whatevs. Okay, end sidebar. But tell them to beware. Let them not try to discover what I am, for if it were better that they were never born than to incur the wrath of the Axeman. I don't think there's any need of such a warning, for I feel sure that the police will always dodge me as they have in the past. They are wise and know how to keep away from all harm. Undoubtedly, you Orleanians think of me as a most horrible murderer, which I am, but I could be much worse if I wanted to. If I wished, I could pay a visit to your city every night. At will, I could slay thousands of your best citizens, for I am in close relationship with the Angel of Death. Sidebar.
Also named Francis. Also named Francis.
Like the fuck? Dude, calm down. In the sidebar. Now, to be exact, at 12:15, brackets earthly time, on next Tuesday night, I'm going to pass over New Orleans. In my infinite mercy, I am going to make a little proposition to you people. Here it is. I am very fond of jazz music, and I swear by all the devils in the nether regions that every person shall be spared in whose home a jazz band is in full swing at the time I have just mentioned. If everyone has a jazz band going, well, then so much the better for you people. One thing is certain, and that is some of your people who do not jazz it on Tuesday night, brackets, if there be any, will get the axe. Well, as I am cold and crave the warmth of my native Tartarus, and it is about time I leave your earthly home, I will cease my discourse, hoping that thou wilt publish this, that it may go well with thee. I have been, am, and will be the worst spirit that ever existed, either in fact or realm of fancy. Signed, the Axeman.
All right, look, I mean, I've heard the story. I don't know that I'd ever read the letter.
Yeah.
Just imagine this, like, in the 80s. I will pass over every home that is playing ABBA at full volume.
Dancing Queen.
Ace of Base shall ring throughout New Orleans.
If thou dost not love the Hall of Notes, thou shalt be smitten.
All thou which does not play hair metal shall be slain.
Oh, bless it. So, that guy was a little pompous, don't you think?
Yeah. Well, I just think that this just sounds fake now, and it's like, hey, I'm a jazz musician.
100%.
I'm gonna send this out.
I'd say, this to me sounds like a total group of jazz musicians like, guys, we need a gig.
Come on.
This is a way for everybody to get employed real fast. But anyway, the people of New Orleans did their best to follow the Axeman's instructions. So all the restaurants and clubs all over town were just jammed packed with people, like being in a place where there was a jazz band going, because they couldn't afford to hire their own. Some friends and neighbors gathered in, like, someone that had a big old house as home, and they hired jazz bands, and they jazzed it up.
Hey!
You know, all the normal jazz stuff. And then there was even a local composer. His name was Joseph Davia, who is a well-known composer in that time period. And he created a theme song for the night, and he titled his composition The Mysterious Axeman's Jazz. So yeah, it became a huge hit. It was a big popular thing in the town at the time. But I mean, if you couldn't afford a jazz band, you played a record of jazz. Like, everybody had a phonograph at the time,
right? Well, if they could afford it, but yeah.
So the next morning, everybody learned that there had been not a single attack that night. So huzzah, it worked.
Jazz took over New Orleans.
Hey,
we could try that now with dubstep.
Yeah.
See how it goes.
I mean, and probably not every house had jazz, but I guess there's at least enough jazz that the Axeman was like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Having a toe-tapping time. It's pretty great.
He passed over New Orleans and enough people were playing it that he got his fix.
Yeah, it was fun. So things quieted down for a little while until the night of August the 3rd of 1919.
Oh, no.
And then a young girl named Sarah Lawman, not sure. Anyway, Sarah was attacked with an axe while she slept. And she received a brain concussion, and she was like cut up a little bit, but she recovered, and she didn't die. But the attack just sort of made people like freak out all over again. But the thing is, Sarah was not the owner of a grocery store. She wasn't Italian. She didn't fit the MO. There was no door panel chiseled out. The person entered through a window. So people were like, that means that nobody's safe. It's not just Italians anymore. But more likely, it was some kind of copycat that, you know, saw an opportunity and wanted to beat her in the head.
Saw an axe.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So then on August the 10th, I believe, a man named Steve Boca sort of stumbled out of his house on Elysian Field Avenue with axe wounds to the skull. He was dripping blood, and he managed to make it to one of his friend's house a block away. And this friend would sort of help him treat the wounds as best he could, and they called for the police. And the police searched Steve's house, and they found the classic signs of the Axeman. There was a chiseled door panel, there was a bloody axe left lying on the floor. So they think that one was a real one. On September the 2nd, a local pharmacy owner named William Carson fired several shots at an intruder who had broken into his home, and the intruder left a broken door, so like a chiseled out door and an axe behind, but he managed to escape, and they don't think he was injured at all in that attack.
Somebody shot at him and didn't hit him?
Yeah. Then in October, the Axeman showed up for one last hurrah. A grocer named Mike Pepitone was slaughtered in his bed during the night.
Oh, Jesus.
Axe to the head, normal thing.
Why was it all grocers?
Well, that's part of the confusing thing.
Yeah, that's what I understand.
That's the MO.
I remember
is
you saying
grocers.
At the beginning that it was all Italian grocers. Like, why?
That's part of the mystery.
It's so fucking weird.
But so Mike Pepitone was slaughtered, but his wife and 6 children were asleep in the next room. They weren't touched at all. There were clues left behind. Obviously, the normal chiseled hole. The axe was left there. But there was no other identifying anything. And then it just stopped. There were no more attacks after that. That was the very last murder that was attributed to the New Orleans Axeman. He was never heard from or seen again in New Orleans. And there was no identity of the Axeman ever discovered. And we still don't know who did it. So the only other thing that I found interesting was a possible suspect of who it could have been. And this is the guy that I like. There are several other things that you can look on Reddit and you can say, oh, it was this guy, and it's because his...
Did he have a monkey?
He owned a monkey and he was very flexible.
Wait, the monkey or the man?
The man. The monkey was for show. God, that shot was miserable.
Hey, you shouldn't have taken it.
I like to be authentic with our audience, sir.
Well, too bad.
But anyway, so they think, and this is the best one that I can find that I think fits it the best, but there was a man named Joseph Mumfree, and he was shot to death on the Pacific coast, and he was killed by a lady named Esther Albano, and the police finally pieced it together, that she was actually the Axeman's last victims, Mike Pepitone. It was his wife.
My
so
goodness.
She shot him dead. So the police were trying to work it out and figure out what was going on and trying to link Mumfree's murder to the Axeman case. And there are a lot of coincidences that came about. So before the first murder that we talked about, several years previously, in 1911, there had been a couple of proto-Axeman murders. You know what I mean? Like, chiseled out, there was an axe involved, but that only happened like twice, and then...
He hadn't escalated yet, like serial killers do. He hadn't escalated.
So, but then it didn't happen again until 1918. Well, it turns out that after 1911... he was put in prison because he was blackmailing Italians for some reason. I mean, I don't...
Did they have a lot of money at the time in New Orleans?
Well, I mean, I believe mob connections were sort of...
At their infancy at that point?
So he was sent to prison for all of that nonsense, and then he got out in 1918, right when that stopped. He was paroled in 1918 when the axe murders started for real.
It's that guy. Did he have a monkey?
I don't know. And then immediately after the Pepitone murders, Mumfree had left New Orleans for California, and the Axeman vanished at the same time that Mumfree left New Orleans. So, like I said, there were a lot of coincidences around this guy, but there's no proof, no physical evidence, and honestly, it's doubtful that anything's ever actually going to come from that case. But for my part, I feel like it might have been him. Monkey or no monkey.
Well, it's nothing's ever going to come of it because nobody knows who Jack the Ripper was either. It's the same kind of thing.
Yep.
He was murdering people brutally at a time when records were not quite where they should have been.
And, I mean, forensic work was terrible because, hey, everybody, let's pile into this crime scene, you know.
Let's see what the deal is. We need all the bodies we can find.
Yeah, and then...
Get everybody in here to find clues.
Everybody touch something, please. And then, fingerprinting was in its infancy. There was no DNA technology. It was just... It was not a great thing. That was the Axeman of New Orleans.
Like I said at the beginning, I knew a good amount. I didn't know specifics, but I knew about the jazz and the doors.
Well, I knew
so you shouldn't
have
asked me questions.
I mean, but we have to. That's part of our
You
shtick.
just shouldn't have.
Sorry.
We should have just breezed right past it. Nobody would have noticed.
I'm sorry, but that's the main part of it, A. And B, we were requested to do this story.
Yeah, it's a
by a
great
listener.
story. It's a
And so
fucking
I thought
awesome
we
story.
had
It's
to,
the
even if you
American
knew
Jack the Ripper.
Well, I mean, it's one of them.
Yeah.
There's like,
more.
There's
but,
two
yeah.
other that are very similar that I want to talk about later, but we're saving those for another time.
Until someone requests them.
Well, there's one in Texas and one in Atlanta.
No,
and
don't tell
it's-
them. Don't tell them. Don't tell them. They're
It's
going to
real
request
interesting.
them. We want to save them.
All right.
We want to save them up. Yeah.
So that was the second story. Did you have anything to add, my love?
Yeah, let's do it in the 90s with the music. Let's do that. Let's freeform that.
You're my wonder why.
No, yeah, anybody not playing Oasis shall be axe murdered. I was actually going to go with the Cranberries, but I like Oasis a little bit. Anyone not playing Zombie shall be murdered.
No, you have to have Wonderwall on a 10-hour loop, and you have to listen to all of it. And if you don't, you're fucking gone. Sorry, bro.
That's just it.
And not any of the rest of the good Oasis songs, just Wonderwall.
Just Wonderwall. That's great. Anyone not playing Blues Traveler.
But only the one song.
Just Hook. Just Hook. If you do Run Around, you're getting axe murdered. We will tell John Popper. You know what it was? It would have been John Popper coming in like, they would have been hit with the axe, but they'd have been like, I swear to God I heard a harmonica.
No, but it would have had to have been post-gastric bypass because he was too big to get through the door up hip.
But he did. You know that he lost like 300 pounds or something, but he still looked huge? Like, he was giant.
Yeah.
Did you know that about him?
He's a big, tall man anyway. But
Yeah,
he was
he's
fat
like
on top of
6'8"
that.
or something. He's huge.
He's super
but he
tall.
weighed like close to 500 pounds or something.
Yeah.
Because he lost a shitload of weight and then went on shows and talked about how much weight he lost, and it was like 300 pounds, and he still looked fat. You know, he still looked huge. I won't say fat. That's not fair. I'm fat.
So am I.
He looked big, but he lost 300 pounds. And you're like, where did it go, John Popper?
A lot of the skin also hangs around still after you lose that kind of weight.
Absolutely it does, but he didn't get that much smaller as well.
Why are we talking about John Popper?
Because we got to talking about Blues Traveler. You started this.
No, I didn't.
Don't even.
All right. Well, that was story number 2. Thank you, John Popper.
You know what? I think we should just go to a toast.
All right. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, tonight we are going to toast televangelists and musicians of all genres in all decades.
All right. So if you have a beverage, lift it proudly into the sky. Hoist it high for everybody to see. If you don't have a beverage, pretend that you have one and lift that hand up high for the toast. All right. You ready?
Yes.
He was pissed at the preacher and really loved candles, sent a bomb in the mail and caused a whole lot of scandals. He terrorized New Orleans with a chisel and axe. Who knew he just wanted to hear some sweet sax? Drink!
Wasn't ready for the sax.
What else rhymes with axe, Mitchell?
Oh, no, but I just had another idea for the 90s axe murderer. I like this just happened. Anyone not playing Garth Brooks shall be slaughtered.
I could get behind that.
Yeah, but it's just... forget it. You're right.
I just really like Garth Brooks. I don't care for
likes Garth
like
Brooks.
country music.
Anybody not pumping Chris Gaines
Okay,
will have their
no.
throat cut.
Exactly the opposite. If you play Chris Gaines once, we're coming after you, bitch. Sorry.
Anyone that plays a Chris Gaines song will have their head beat in with the blunt side of an axe.
Just for spite, because I mean, like...
Yeah. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Along that same vein, we thank you very much for listening to the Southern Spirits Podcast. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Southern Spirits Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Spirits Podcast. If you have any suggestions of alcohols or stories, send us an email at southernspiritspodcast@gmail.com. If you have any fun stuff you want to send us, we have a P.O. Box. That's P.O. Box 1743, Hartselle, Alabama. HARTSELLE 35640. And we're going to see y'all next week.
Bye, y'all.